Myself, Professor D.S. Rai, Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, BBDA, ITM, Lucknow. Today, we will go for lecture 2 of course KCE 076 Urban Transportation Planning System. References that I have taken are Chakraborty Partha and Das Animes, Principle of Transportation Engineering, Papakostak CS and Prevendo Rose PD, Transportation Engineering and Planning. Next is Kadiali and Lal NB, Principle and Practices of Highway Engineering. Neptel and some part of this topic has been taken from internet. The content that we will cover here, goal and objective of urban transportation, needs of urban transportation, needs and generation of alternatives, nature of traffic problem, present scenario of urban transportation. So, first of all, we come to the system objective. The goal is to ensure that amenities of an urban area are available to all social economic group within the community. This is very important because peoples are living in the urban area of different level, weaker section, upper weaker section, lower middle section, upper middle section, upper section. So, there should be a provision, amenities should be such that should be available to all socio-economic groups within the community. The objective of the urban transportation maximize and equalize the accessibility to the urban activation by public transport from all residential areas. So, this is the objective. The standard, suppose we have taken a travel time not greater than 30 minutes. So, this is the goal, objective and standard. Now, come to the level of planning. The apex body is here government or political setup. They are the apex body. They will make the policy and the things which require for the urban transportation. So, the government will decide, like I have told in previous lecture, the government of India has now announced new urban transportation policy. So, the government, after this government, the definition of transport goal and objectives should be defined. The next thing is identification of needs, which will be helped by two things. One is existing condition of the transportation, and second thing is forecast of future conditions, because we are not going to construct our transportation system for a day, at least there should be a 10-year forecasting. So, the identification of need should be strengthened by forecast of future conditions as well as existing conditions. Then the determination and modification of alternatives. What is alternatives? Means different proposals. So, here after that One is financial feasibility analysis and economic impact analysis. These are two things which has to be monitored very precisely. Financial feasibility, whatever we are going to provide the facilities to the into the urban area, where the money will come and how it will expand. First thing. Second thing, what would be the impact of the provision of that we are going to provide. So, these two should be analyzed or evaluate very precisely. This, the determination or the modification of alternatives shall be monitored or shall be analyzed or evaluated by technical implication analysis, whether technically it is feasible or not. For a very small cluster, you are going to construct a bridge over a river which is passing across the city, it is not feasible to just provide a facility for a very small cluster. There should be some other alternative should be provided. Second is land use. This is very important, because in urban area land is not available that we can go for any type of construction, any type of facility we can provide. So, we have to identify the land uses. I have said earlier that in Aminabad, if somebody is giving money to just widen the roads in Aminabad or Chowk area, it is not possible, despite of the financial assistance or finance has been provided by the competent authority, because there are permanent structure or establishments are there in Aminabad and Chowk area. So, it is not possible to change the demography or land use. So, we have to analyze these things, and of course, third is very crucial, environmental impact, how the emissions are going on. So, this should be analyzed, and after that then the total proposal or different alternatives are sent for evaluation. Here, if it is good alternatives available, it either be rejected or no, or accepted. If it is accepted, then there is no problem, because we go for the development of implementation of the plan. If it is rejected, then again it will send for the identification of needs. So, goal and objective based on demand of the people. Suppose this is the example that I have taken, and it is from the some books of Nimesh Das. The people of Kanpur and its adjoining areas, the government declares that the objective of reducing the travel time of the people of two cities, Kanpur and New Delhi. This is the objective, Delhi, so that people from Kanpur can travel to the Delhi and back on the same day. This is the objective. Means whatever you are going to provide, the people of Kanpur will go to New Delhi doing their work and back to Kanpur again in same day. This is our objective. Once goal has stated and objective is declared, the next stage is to identify the need of the transportation system that will satisfy the goals. Again, essential input to this identification process are an inventory of existing state of the system and a forecast of the future conditions demand. As I have told you earlier, this is the derived demand, and implicit requirement of this process is the planning horizon or the time period for which this planning is being done. So, we go for the same example. So, we have to cover the needs. Again example, Kanpur to New Delhi and back in the same day. This is the objective. Based on the objective, we may define the need of the various levels. At basic level, we need to interpret the stated objective. First, same day, this is the constant or condition. Same day, it does not mean 24 hours, first thing, because we cannot expend 24 hours in just travelling from Kanpur to New Delhi and New Delhi to back Kanpur. Rather, it should be considered as a period of 16 hours starting from 6 a.m. 16 hours from 6 a.m. This is the first constant. Second, it may not be worthwhile to travel to New Delhi and back if one does not get enough working time. Suppose anybody is going Kanpur to Delhi and he has no time at all for their works. So, then what is the use to going Kanpur to Delhi and back Delhi to Kanpur? So, the people or travelers should get sufficient time for their work in New Delhi. So, the one does not get enough working hours in the capital city. Hence, again we need to interpret the objective so as to assume that one should get at least 6 working hours in the city, not 8 hours, but at least 6 hours should be available to the person who is going from Kanpur to New Delhi for their work, so that at least he will do his work and then back to Kanpur. So, then it will be worthwhile, otherwise not. These interpretation and assumption that at least 2 hours would be needed from home to railway station and again New Delhi to the working place, back to New Delhi station and again Kanpur to their house. So, at least 2 hours would be needed to travel to and from home to office to the transportation system. So, 2 hours extra will require to just going from one place to another in local nearby areas. Then this gives rise the basic need that having a transport system in a place which can cover 500 kilometers in 4 hours. So, this is our needs. So, it is also needed to look at existing facilities available in the Kanpur and the predicted demand for such a system in order to decide a certain specific needs. What are these needs? There are many trains from the Kanpur which can reach New Delhi in less than 5 hours. There are many trains. None of them have in Kanpur in morning. This is the constant. This was happened quite time back. So, at that time there was no train in the morning at Kanpur. Being a small airport at Kanpur, there is no flight from Kanpur to New Delhi. Means commercial flights are not available at Kanpur to go New Delhi. So, this is the present scenario, existing scenario. The next is road connection from Kanpur to New Delhi at present takes about 10 hours, because there is NS2 and NS91 from Kanpur to Aligarh and then New Delhi. So, these are three alternatives we have, means this condition is existing. Now, needs and generation of alternatives. So, we need to forecast number of passengers in next 10 years. What are the numbers of passengers? And suppose there are 600 passengers from Kanpur to going to from Kanpur to New Delhi. So, in 10 years that would be multiplied by 2, nearly 2. So, now the passenger will be 1200. So, we have to provide the facility at Kanpur so that it could be possible to take 1200 passengers per day when operating in full capacity. So, this is the things. Now, generation of alternatives. What are the things or what are the proposals or different proposals generate? Based on need, transport planner need to identify various alternatives which will match those needs. So, while determining the alternatives, a planner need to look at number 1, various mode like roadways, railways, waterway and airways. B, the technological aspect such as high speed train, monorails, underground transit system, driver information system. This is a highly technical possibilities. And C, the traffic engineering aspect like improving signalization, grade and separating intersection. So, these are the things needed for travelling from Kanpur to New Delhi and back to Kanpur in objective one day. Now, the nature of traffic problems. The traffic congestion, first is traffic congestion. In an urban area, it is quite prominent that after just going outside of the home, there will be congestion in the urban area. This will take more time, more engine will run or in on position. So, the emission will be more, time taken will be more, and of course, social aspect is also related with that, because we are going your office or somewhere else not at a time or a given time, but after some late. So, this will create embracing position in the society. And what things happen, this study has been gone that due to traffic congestion in Delhi, Mumbai and Bangalore and Kolkata nearly cost 1.47 lakhs crores used annually. Such a big amount is just wasted due to congestion in these 4 cities. And of course, low level of services due to congestion, due to not availability of a proper transit system. So, label provided in the city is have a low level of service. This congestion will increase the fuel consumption and thus creates air pollution. Most of the city of India, most of the urban area in the are not at the level what is decided by the government. Means we are inhaling the air pollutants every day in the urban area. The negative impact on the people psychological states, psychologically it will create negative impact. Now, the second is nature of the traffic problem. The second is vehicular emission. At least 140 million people in India are breathing air 10 times or more polluted over the World Health Organization safe limit. Health impact will create heart attack, strokes, asthma in the urban area. Environmental impact, greenhouse gas, global warming, this will come in the picture in the urban area. The transport section is significant contributor of air pollution in the urban areas. The nature of problems, again the third is road accident. India ranks first in the number of road accident death, almost 11%, that is 1,51,113 in the world. So, the road accident that tally 1,51,113. The number of fatality in the million plus cities increased, registering a compound annual growth of 1.9% as compared to the 0.8% at the national level for the period 2015 to 2019. Road accident not only have devastating impact on lives, but also bear a heavy economical cost, generally 3% of total GDP. Then the fourth is energy demand. In the congestion, if your engine is on, so the energy or fuel consumption will be more. So, worldwide petroleum and other fuels are dominant sources of transportation engineering. Total fuel consumption of on road vehicles in India 2035 is projected to be 6 times of over the 2005 level. So, fuel consumption by India light duty vehicles grow up by 7.7% per year. Insufficient energy utilization has led to increase the fuel consumption of the vehicles. Now, come to the present scenario of the urban transportation. Road infrastructure. First, road infrastructure is of poor quality, and therefore, the petrol and diesel are exhausted in a staggering manner, low mileage. Road capacity, India roads are congested due to inadequate capacity, lane capacity is low on the urban roads. M&T infrastructure for the pedestrians and bicyclists is highly inadequate and generally unsafe, though it is now the government is now thinking to plan a separate cycle track for the movement of the passenger. The next is long distance travel. Lower rent and the land prices have led residents to extended city peripheries, and that increase the travel distance and thereby forbidding non-motorized modes. So, the next is vehicle ownership. Increase in the income level, especially middle class of Indian family, had led to increase ownership of private mode of transport. operation and maintenance cost, increased cost impacting adversely the owner and operation of bus and IPT modes. The next is cost of travel. The travel cost is a major consideration for the economically weaker section. In the heterogeneous urban environment, bus services, inadequate capacity and low service quality for the bus services, use of private modes, increase use of private vehicles due to less attractive bus services. Overloading is the big problem, as we know, that will create a big problem for the infrastructure. Next is parking, lack of parking supply and regulation. Inland water transport all over the India, most of the cities are developed nearby the sea or the waterways, but nowadays we are now forgetting water transport system, and that should be utilized. Now government is thinking intelligent transport system, low users of technology in the transportation system. Rail transport, suburban rails are available in selected city. Rail transport is not used advantageously for the intra-city level. Thank you very much. Thank you.